very good. Pushed them both at the same time.
Welcome to...
That sounded so good.
Yeah, it did.
Here.
Hey, this is Horribly Off Topic with Chris and Steve. And
Welcome to the show, everybody.
yeah. We were just marveling at the fact that I pushed the record button on the iPad at the same time as I pushed the timer stopwatch button on my phone. It takes a lot of coordination.
You did a really good job, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much right on. Like it's 36, 37, 37 seconds. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need to just applaud somebody that you know for doing just a mundane task very well.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's mundane, but it's important because if I don't do that task, then the podcast would still get recorded. If I don't do that task, the podcast would it would probably still be about the same amount of time. But
are we good? Are levels good?
I think our levels are good. Yeah.
It seems like we're a little soft.
We're softer here. Let me see if I can. If I bring it up now, it's gonna mean trouble for me later. But I'll bring it up when I get to Garage Band upstairs.
All right, because I don't want people complaining. I can't hear you.
I can't hear you. No, they'll be able to hear us.
Code.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a question.
Yeah.
You're drinking a soda from a Soda Stream, right?
Yes, I is.
All right. So you're drinking it out of an orange container. Can you only make orange soda with the orange one?
Yes, they have a little camera in the Soda Stream, and if they notice that I'm making anything other than orange soda in the orange one, a guy comes to my house and punches me in the balls.
Well, that seems like an inappropriate thing to do, and it make me not want to have a Soda Stream.
Well, that's one of those things that I think probably...
Scarlett Johansson made me want to have one, but it still wasn't enough to actually go out and make the purchase.
Well, it's one of those things that's probably buried deep down in the service agreement that I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I feel because we're friends and we're talking with friends here, it's important that you know about the hidden camera in your Soda Stream. Don't try to make anything other than orange in the orange bottle from Soda Stream.
Yeah. Is that like diet orange, regular orange?
It's diet orange, yeah. Because I'm lame like that.
I don't like diet soda.
I'd
rather just drink water.
I can only drink diet soda right now, mostly because I hate high fructose corn syrup.
You can drink water, right?
I can drink water, but I have a soda problem. So, but the diet sodas, the artificial sweeteners, are gross by all accounts. But I like them better, unless I can get real sugar. If I can get a soda with real sugar, which is mostly like your independent soda brands, or I think Pepsi is.
Yeah, Pepsi's bringing out they had like Pepsi
Pepsi Throwback.
Yeah, and then I think they just turned that into like Pepsi with real sugar.
Yeah.
And I think they have like the cherry Pepsi, regular Pepsi, and vanilla.
They have Mountain Dew? I don't know if they
they had a Mountain Dew throwback as well.
They had a Mountain Dew throwback. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, if I can get real sugar, I'll go for real sugar. Otherwise, because I drink too much soda, I stick with the diet sodas. Yeah, and somebody can write to us at hot@clarkwoods.com and tell me about all the horrible things I am doing to my body by drinking diet soda.
And maybe it'll change your mind, or maybe it'll make you want to drink it more.
Maybe.
Because I smoked for 12 years.
Yeah.
Smoked cigarettes. I need to preface it that I'm like, I smoked everything.
You smoked.
Crack, heroin, pot, everything.
A little bit of oregano here and there.
I simply smoked cigarettes for an extended period of time. So I started, was about like 16 or something like that, and then I quit when I was like 28.
Wow.
If that's an indication how old I am, I'm sorry. I just burst your bubble that I'm not.
Yeah, it just means that I'm
not the early 20s that you thought I was there.
No,
with my youthful look.
You could be. I mean, you could have quit just like a couple months ago.
I started when I was an infant, and no matter how many times people told me, oh my God, there's so many bad things in cigarettes for you. And it's not just nicotine. They put all these carcinogens, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit.
Right. Nicotine probably isn't even the like third worst thing that's in there. Well, it's the most addictive thing, probably. I don't know.
nicotine in large
Is it bad?
quantities is actually like literally poison.
Oh,
like
geez.
it,
Okay.
if you like put like pure nicotine in your mouth and drank it, you would die instantly.
Okay.
Like,
well, here's the thing. I never smoked because my parents both smoked. It's the same reason that I don't drink coffee. There's like certain smells that they just ingrained in my brain as things that like my parents did that I didn't really want to do. And coffee drinking and smoking somehow both, like, although they're completely separate on the spectrum in terms of bad things you could do to yourself, where coffee really isn't that bad and smoking is.
well, coffee can be bad.
It can be bad. I mean, you can get reliant on it, but I'm saying, like, those two smells, I can't do it. And more the taste of coffee too. I mean, I've had it, and I've had a sip of it here or there. I had to drink a cup of cold coffee on stage last summer.
Why didn't you just put like food coloring into water?
I don't know, because the director wanted authenticity.
So you had to, so you could make a face.
So what they did was they had they took a pot of coffee from the this is at the Players Ring, where you've done some stand up and where I've done some work. They took a pot of coffee from the coffee that's there, which isn't very good coffee. It's like
was it in the green room?
It's an
was
open
it the
secret.
same? Was it the same?
It's the same coffee that everyone else drinks. But
the ones in the containers
yeah, the ones in
downstairs.
the
I thought it was
containers.
like a secret, like
no,
even grosser coffee.
No, everyone drinks the same gross coffee. So they put this coffee in a pot at the top of the show. We don't drink the coffee, I don't think, until the end of the first act or the beginning of the second act. So it's like sitting, it's still kind of warm when we pour it, but it's pretty gross.
But you can't like in between acts, like get a fresh cup or something like that?
Because what it was placed on the other side of the stage from where the coffee was.
Oh.
So it had to be there for somebody to pick it up, bring it out, and place it.
I don't know shit about staging things or plays. Yeah. So
anyway, my one experience with that's not my one experience, but my most recent experience with coffee was having to drink lukewarm Players Ring coffee.
Well, how do you feel about
stage.
tea?
Tea, I've tried tea, and it's mostly like a lot of bitter things just don't. I can't do. So like
put a little milk in it, and then it makes it less
I've
bitter.
done that, and I had I went to some marketing event years ago, right before I had a job that lasted for 3 months in marketing.
I was going to say, like, why does marketing have anything to do with this?
Well, yeah, no.
Right before I had a job,
I was ramping up my marketing skills for this job that then lasted 3 months.
What was the job? Can you talk about it?
I can talk about it, but it's not really apropos of the
all right, talk
tea.
about tea then.
And so I went to this event, and I liked the tea. I had put a little bit of milk in it, whatever. And the people that hired me for this, what turned out to be 3-month job, they realized I liked the tea, and they bought me a whole box of it. And when you started drinking that every day, I was like, well, I liked it that one time. It wasn't so much.
I would have taken the tea off your hands.
Well, I had it for a while. I might still have that box of tea up in my. It's been 4 years, but I might still have that.
What is it, in the attic?
No, in my kitchen. It's probably in my kitchen.
I'm like, I thought you were like, you kept on saying up.
Oh,
like up, yeah. You know, it's in your storage area next to my bric-a-brac.
I do have a lot. We've been getting rid of bric-a-brac a lot around here. Yesterday I had 2 trips to the dumpster, and this morning 1 full carload to the recycling center.
You don't have recycling here in this?
Well, not on the complex. No.
Oh, that sucks.
No, we gotta go.
Like we have so much more like recycling. I mean, I feel like I'm doing a benefit to the environment, because like we have like, you know, in Hudson we have the recycle pickup and the regular trash pickup.
Yeah.
And the recycling is every other week, and we fill that thing up to the top every time.
Yeah.
And then, but the regular trash, like sometimes we don't even put it out like on non-recycle weeks, because why?
Yeah,
like,
there's not enough
just
there.
the effort put forth to bring it down isn't necessarily worth it. Well, I tend to do it because I get more steps in.
Yeah.
Burn more calories,
More steps. That's the thing. I'm still mad. I haven't followed up on getting anything to replace.
So we can compare notes.
So we can compare notes on how many steps.
I'll tell you how many I got today.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. the Wii thing says.
I got 7,378 steps today. Yesterday, I had 25,000.
25. Did you work out yesterday?
Well, I went. I didn't feel like going to the gym, and it was rainy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get some exercise, so I went to the mall. And it was very
that's as you do.
Classic, it's the Pheasant Lane Mall, the mall that we spent way too much time at.
In
our youth.
Yep.
And I was just walking around watching a bunch of youths spending way too much time in their summer. It was an understandable day to go to the mall. It was
it was rainy
day. Yeah. And I just kept on walking around. And I was like, I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet. And I looked and it's playing in Tingsboro at 7:30. And so I just kind of walked around for almost 3 hours.
Right, waiting
for the movie to start. And then I got over there and the movie theater was mobbed. And I'm like, I don't want to go here now. So I just left and went home. I walked around for 3 hours waiting for a movie that I did not go see.
That sounds like such a... Well, I was going to say a typical Steve story, but it's a typical Gen Xer story of at least or of the people that I know. That sounds like so many guys that I know were really excited to do something, and then it's too crowded or it's too whatever. I'm like, the fuck with this? I'm not. No.
Yeah, our apathy or the apathy of our generation. Actually, no. I think the previous. Or no, the current generation is more apathetic than we were, which is impossible.
How is that possible? You had something before we started. You had something you wanted to get off your chest, and we never got to that. We're 12 minutes in, and we haven't gotten to what you.
This is what happens. I get on a tear about talking about things, then we just go back and forth.
Hey,
So before we get started on the meat of the episode, I'd like to get something off my chest.
Yes.
I don't like how close the urinals are at where I work.
It's an important topic. I'm surprised that this sort of thing is not regulated.
All right, I think Dave Barry had one of his columns one week was about urinal etiquette.
Don't talk to people while you're in the urinal.
Yeah, people do that all the time. I'm over that. I'll just hey, how's the weather? It's great. I'm pissing. Yay!
If I'm ever in a urinal with you, listener, don't talk to me while we're in the bathroom. While we're at the sinks, that's okay. Once you're done touching your junk and relieving yourself,
and his.
Yes, then it's okay. But not while you're at the urinal.
So yeah, they're very. They have the divider, which is okay, but his theory is if let's say you go into a restroom and it has 5 urinals.
Okay.
When you walk in, there's no one in there.
Yeah.
Your destination should be the urinal furthest from the door.
Agreed. Well, yes and no. My theory goes as far as if there's nobody in there, you go to a urinal at one of the ends where there's not going to be anyone. You're only going to be there's only going to be one person that you're sort of knocking elbows or whatever with.
Yeah. So okay. Either way, either the one closest or furthest from the door works in this scenario.
Okay.
If another person comes in while you are urinating,
yes,
the next closest, or the next choice should be the one furthest from you.
Okay. Right. Yep.
And then, if another person comes in after that, they should be in the one in the middle.
Yes, there should. If possible, there should always be an empty urinal between you and another person. Yes.
So, and then if another person comes in after that, they should, if they're going to follow etiquette. This won't necessarily. This isn't necessarily etched in stone because Dave Barry wrote about it 20 years ago.
Right.
But they're supposed to go into the stall, if they're following etiquette.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with that. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's 2 in our bathroom, and they're really close together, but they have the wall divider, so you're not like, hey, there's my junk. You want to look at it? No. But it's just So I get there and I like taking a wide stance when I take a piss. I did, in the bathroom before we started the show, because I wasn't at a urinal next to another person.
Yeah.
But like when I go in there and there's no one in there, I'm taking a little wide stance and I'm kind of invading the space of the other side of the urinal wall. And then when
which
someone
would be
comes
fine if everyone else was dealing as they should, according to etiquette. Yeah.
Yes. So like, and then someone else comes in and I'm like, I have to like do this thing where I'm grabbing onto my penis.
Yes.
And I'm like hopping over with one foot just
move.
a little bit so I can be like, not invading their space so they can have a little bit more room while they piss. And so like, I don't like how close they are together.
Yeah.
And there's like a handicap bathroom that I use that's like huge.
Yeah.
But I feel weird about it. I mean, not that there's anybody that's got a physical disability in my general office area at all.
So it's you're not depriving someone of what they're.
Yeah, but I still feel shitty using it.
I mean, I take the etiquette one step further, and so even if I get the one on the end where there's not possibly going to be anybody next to me, I sort of find myself. I take the opposite of the wide stance, and I kind of turn sideways towards as much as I can without actually pissing out of the urinal and onto the wall. I mean, I kind of like angle myself so I'm not even aware of who's next to me. I just try to like not even. I hate the idea that I'm even in the bathroom with anybody else. Like that. That's why stay away from me in the bathroom. That's what I'm saying. I mentioned I was at Palace Playland last week. The urinals there
are really great.
No. That's what you would think, right? At a place called Palace Playland on Old Orchard Beach.
I would figure you would piss into a clown's mouth and it would fill up a balloon.
That's the one you had to pay 50 cents for.
Oh, okay.
No, I was not paying 50 cents. I mean, everything that might possibly give you amusement at Palace Playland costs money. So if you want the clown urinal that fills up a balloon that you can then take home, it costs you 50 cents to go in to fill up the clown's face, and it costs you another $3 to take the balloon full of urine home. That's just how...
You're lying.
I'm not lying. So I went to the...
Don't give people any sort of delusion that if you go to this place, you can get a piss balloon.
You can get a piss balloon.
You can get a piss balloon anywhere because you can piss into a balloon. But you don't get a fun piss balloon like you're talking about.
Oh, you're ruining my...
How is this fun? It's being disingenuous to people about a piss balloon. Okay,
it's a shitty thing to do.
Yes. You should apologize.
I should, but I'm not going to. So the one that I went into was the free one without the piss balloons, and
like all of them.
And so it had the dividers, but what you were pissing into was a trough. It was a trough that
just went, like at the old Fenway Park.
At the old Fenway Park. I've been into that one within the last 3 or 4 years, but I guess I've never.
Fenway Park has like urinals now.
But I've been into the Palace Playland one, and I must have just used the stall because I don't remember the trough, or maybe I just blocked it on my brain. And besides the fact that it's a trough, the barriers, I guess they're built for someone who's taken a wide stance, but they're built for someone who's taken a wide stance and is wide themselves. Like you could fit two guys. And what I was worried about as I was standing there, you fit two guys in between each divider.
That someone would share your divider?
That someone would share my divider. That, I don't trust.
Well, that would be okay for like a father and their kid.
A father and a kid, sure. But yeah, and I've been in Fenway, so I knew that they had
Fenway Park.
Fenway Park.
Wait, no, I'm gonna do it Bill Burr style. In the style of his podcast, because apparently we're gonna rip off everybody.
Yes.
And when he would be like, he would go talking to the mic, I'd be Fenway Park, and he like goes away from the mic when he says that.
Well, you know which place always screwed me up was Great Woods / the Comcast Center / Xfinity Center, whatever the hell it's called today, because they have
it's something else between Great Woods.
It was Great Woods, and then it was what the hell was it? Before it was Comcast, it was
Media One.
It might have been. I think it might have even been a different company before the Comcast, whatever.
The Shawmut Center. No.
That was what the garden was gonna be. Or
yeah, and then like Shawmut Bank went kablooey,
so
and then it became the Fleet Center.
Yes, it did. The Great Woods bathrooms have, as I recall, a circular place to wash your hands, and I've actually seen people go in there and piss into the circular place to wash your hands because it looks deceptively like an old ballpark's place where you would go and piss, but it's actually like this big circular place where you could put your hands in and get soap and water. But I've seen people piss in there.
I wrote a joke once that I don't think I've used. I keep on forgetting about it. I was at the Field. It's in Central Square in Cambridge.
Okay, yeah.
And they have this weird bathroom. Like they have the urinal right, like when you come in the door, and then like they have the stall at the end, which is what I normally use. But then one time I went in there, someone was in the stall, so I'm like, I gotta piss. Yeah. And it's like I'm not super tall, but I'm not like exceptionally short either. Like I'm about 5'8", which I guess is like nowadays is short for a guy.
Yeah.
But still, like I'm standing next to this urinal, and I'm like, this thing is way too high up. Like my penis is like on level with it, so I have to kind of arc it up a little bit.
Right.
And I'm like, what if I was like, what's the dude from Game of Thrones?
Peter Dinklage.
What if I was Peter Dinklage?
What an unfortunate name.
What would I just have to piss in my hand and then pour it into the urinal? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
I once went to.
I mean, I understand there's not going to be children at a bar.
Yeah. I went to UMaine Orono to visit a friend once, and the showers there were actually built for someone Peter Dinklage's size.
All of them?
All of them. Every shower I went to go take a shower, and the shower. I'm not that. I maybe am 5'9". I might be
teeny bit taller.
I might be a teeny bit taller than you. I get in there and I get in to take the shower, and the shower head is hitting me in the chest.
Could you arc it up a little bit?
No,
so
it was like a nub in the wall, not positionable at all. That just hit.
Did you like do it like? Did you sit on a chair or something?
I know.
Wash your balls. They get stuck to the chair.
That would have been an idea. No, I on my old webpage, I wrote an article about it because it was so weird. It was called
but is it on
Showers for Gary Coleman? It's not up anymore, but eventually I'll have to put it up.
Yeah, put it back up because you're talking.
I'm talking about it now. I'll have to find it and post it before I post this episode.
But yeah, I should put that in. I got the next time. I got one more show at least.
Yeah.
And that'll be next Thursday. So I guess that'll be like my farewell to comedy show.
And you can throw in your.
Well, actually, no, I don't know. I don't want to like throw out the idea that I will never do stand up anymore. But I'm not like actively seeking gigs.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. You might have to change it to humorist.
Humorist in the description.
Humorist Steve Woodbury.
Humorist.
Because that's what like they call people that are funny that like gave up doing stand up.
I did not realize that there was.
I don't know. It's like I hear like what is it? Mo Rocca is known as a humorist.
He's a humorist.
He's on the radio and he's on I Love Whatever.
I gotcha. I never thought Mo Rocca was particularly funny. So no, I don't know.
He's a funny dude. Shut up.
What was Mo Rocca on? He was on.
I love the '80s and I love the '90s, and then he's also on Wait, Don't Tell Me a bunch.
Oh yeah, okay. No, Mo Rocca is funny.
What are you talking about? Where is this guy? Isn't funny.
This guy.
Wait, he's hilarious. I forgot.
Well, it's I'm off my game. You called me on my piss balloons, and now I had
another piss story. Oh yeah, all I want to talk about is pissing apparently for the rest of the day. There's been times where I've been at like a really divey shit bar.
Yeah.
That has like just the one stall or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's been times where I was so completely intoxicated that I got sick of pissing in the toilet and then started pissing in the trash barrel. Kind of like, woo! And then there's like a line of piss in between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to stop pissing in the
no, that's
to get from
that's
point
not
A to point
gentlemanly.
B. Yeah, and then there's like, I guess evidence. So whoever, has to clean the bathroom tomorrow.
They don't just go, did he start in the No, okay, I see what happened.
Was he confused? And then he was like, oh, did I go... Because, there could be an honest mistake of a severely intoxicated individual that you start pissing in the barrel.
Right.
And you're like, oh, wait, I'm pissing in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Then I go and piss in the toilet. No.
No.
I was much worse. I was pissing in the toilet, the place I was supposed to piss.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? Trash barrel.
Trash barrel. Hey.
Oh, another thing. When you go into a bathroom and it's like a one-person bathroom,
Yeah.
but it has the toilet and the urinal.
Yes. Lock the door.
What the fuck sense does that make? Unless you have the stall that's completely like neither of those things is going to get used at the same time. I understand maybe if the urinal's broken, you would use just the toilet, and if the toilet's broken, you could take a shit in the urinal.
Yeah, the Rusty Hammer in Portsmouth is like that. The men's room that has a urinal and it has the regular toilet.
Well, it might be remodeled by the time.
That side of it actually is now. So it's the old Rusty Hammer. That side of it now belongs to someone else or something.
So they gave away half the restaurant.
There was the part in the Hammer where you stepped up into. You came in the one door and you stepped up or you stepped down into the other section.
Yeah.
That whole big main section got cut off and is now being sold as something else. And the Hammer is staying in the side that was where you entered. And I think they've always had an upstairs that they used for parties and stuff. And I think they're going to make better use of that or something.
Okay, so they just, okay.
Yeah.
Next time you have a damn play, I'll go to see it and then we'll have drinks there.
Yes.
Buy a damn Midori sour.
Midori sours. So they had one of those, and I one time made the mistake of not locking the door behind me, and
while you're taking a shit,
while I'm taking a piss, and somebody came in to take a shit.
But did he just continue to do that?
Came in, yeah.
How's it going, pal?
I just, and I think I walked in on that too because the person didn't lock the door.
You're like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, don't worry about it. Just, the smell might be a little bit much.
Oh.
I had Thai food.
Oh, God. Why does anybody have Thai food?
It's good. You don't like Thai food?
I don't like Thai food.
I don't know if we can do this podcast anymore.
Oh, jeez.
I was figuring we can go out for Thai food after the show, but no.
Oh. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to like Thai food then.
Go to there's a place in Chelmsford, actually. It's called the free ad, you guys. It's called Yutong 2.
Yutong. Okay, Yutong 2.
It's the sequel. Well, it's not 2. Well, the thing is, there's more than one Yutong.
That's like Max 2 is the sequel to what? Where's Max 1?
There is a Yutong. It's in Marlborough, so I used to live near both of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's great. If you don't like spicy, then
I'm not a huge fan of spicy. No.
Okay. Well, you don't have to get something that's spicy. But yeah, it's one of my favorite Thai places in the region. So go to next time you're visiting the folks.
Yeah, Steph likes Thai food, so
go there and with her, and then drop the kids off because they won't like it.
They don't like anything.
Yeah, but they especially won't like really spicy stuff.
Nobody doesn't even like macaroni and cheese anymore. Do you know what a crime that is?
Anymore?
She used to like macaroni and cheese. All kids like macaroni and cheese, except for Stephanie, who once got forced to eat macaroni and cheese cold and had a thing about macaroni and cheese well into adulthood.
So why does Melody not
doesn't? She likes noodles with nothing on them.
No, not even butter.
Not even butter.
Just plain noodles.
Plain noodles. She used to love like any kind of sauce, spaghetti sauce, macaroni and cheese. Nothing now. We had macaroni and cheese and pulled pork last night. I thought it was awesome. She wouldn't touch any of it.
What does she eat besides noodles then?
She eats plain hamburgers.
Okay,
with no ketchup on them.
No lettuce or tomato or anything.
Yep, just a slab of meat on
no
in
veggies,
between buns. No, nothing.
You got her on a multivitamin at least.
We should. I think we've got some multivitamins in the kitchen, but
get her Flintstones.
Yeah. Well, Flintstones are more expensive. You get the cheapo generic like little gummy vitamins.
Oh, okay.
Which is probably why they aren't. I don't know why we don't buy the things that we used to buy. Flintstones were the thing. I had Flintstones when I was a kid. Flintstones vitamins. I had a Flintstones.
10 million strong and growing.
Yeah. But now we're too cheap to buy that shit.
It's fine, whatever. It's a different economy now.
I know. Yeah, people are upset. Did you hear about what's the place in Missouri where there's the rioting and stuff going on?
How is this to do with the economy?
because the guy. Okay, so there's rioting going on.
It's outside of St. Louis.
Outside of St. Louis. Anyway, we're not going to focus that much on it. But I don't know if it was the mayor, somebody aside from the president, who said absolutely nothing about anything when he talked about it today. Well, he's trying not to offend anybody.
Yeah,
that's fine. But I don't know if it was the mayor or something who said that people in the town are upset about being poor since the economy in 2008, something to that effect. Basically just saying that that's the reason that anything bad is happening there is because the poor people are upset about being poor since 2008.
Yeah, no, I think they're upset because someone got shot.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't want to go into it because
I don't want to get into it either. But
let's get into something, that's a good segue.
Yeah, it is a good segue.
Because there's people that got mad about the media coverage of Robin Williams' suicide.
Right.
Or apparent suicide. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But Robin Williams' apparent suicide, because it took away media coverage from the story out there in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
Well, you can't win.
You can't win because what about the story in St. Louis, detracting from people dying of Ebola in Africa?
Yeah, and what about the stuff happening in Iraq or someplace
or in Israel
everything that we are in a 24-hour news cycle and everything ends up distracting from something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like in the summertime when it's usually slow news, then I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. but the news about Robin Williams, I think, is because he's a celebrity, but if it's suicide, as you said, I don't think they officially said it. I think they're going to do an autopsy, so I don't know if.
They said it like I think there was I was listening to NPR on the way here, and they said it wasn't. Or he wasn't on any drugs or alcohol.
Right.
So that means they must have done an autopsy already.
Yeah.
And it was apparent suicide because he had a belt around his neck, I guess.
Yeah.
And he had but then there was the news report that he had early stages of Parkinson's. So maybe that was
playing a factor
into I don't know.
But aside from the fact that he's a celebrity, I mean, it really is an opportunity to talk about.
And then there was another. Sorry, before you get into that, a lot of people were getting mad that people were taking the opportunity talking about Robin Williams' apparent suicide into using it as a jumping off point to talk about suicide. And I'm like, why is that a fucking problem?
That's not a problem. That's exactly what it should be, right? Because the thing that. So I had a conversation. My dad, I guess he talked with my brother on today's Thursday. So my dad talked with my brother on like Tuesday night, and then he called me yesterday afternoon.
Brother or your dad?
My dad
okay.
Called my brother or vice versa on Tuesday, and then sometime in the middle of the day on Wednesday he called me to talk about Robin Williams. And
your dad grew up like in that time where he was just like really breaking in.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean.
We were still little kids at the time,
right? But so it was really, and I could tell it was having an effect on him, and that's why he wanted to talk to John about it. That's why he wanted to talk to me about it. But he used that word that's come up, selfish. That's come up in coverage. Some less than something. Can't think of the right word. Reporters have called the act selfish and whatnot, and I think anyone who thinks about suicide as being selfish, I feel where they're coming from. Like if that's what it takes for them not to commit suicide or not think about it is to think about it as being selfish, then good, that keeps somebody from killing themselves. But it's not a selfish act, and I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but it's something that needs to be talked about because this is a guy who. If you sit there and you look at it, he was beloved by a lot of people. He had a fair amount of success in his life, and that
more than fair, I'd say.
Yeah, and that didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of his own battle with a really serious illness in depression.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't get that about depression. People say to me, and maybe have said to you, Because I don't know, have you feel like you've suffered from depression?
Yeah, I definitely have. I think we're both on the same page as far as being, people that have gotten bummed out in the past.
Right. So
or
people,
maybe more than just bummed out.
yeah. So people say to me, right, that, oh man, you're married, you have kids, you have this, you have that. What do you have to be sad about? And that's just, I don't know what the right way to talk about it is, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. But that's if the tragedy of losing him could do anything good, it could be to open up a conversation about this.
Yeah.
Because this is a guy who, according to the way most people think about depression and about this stuff, shouldn't have killed himself, but he did.
Yeah.
Or apparently did.
Well, okay, so I prepared some stuff that I got off a website.
And it occurs to me, we're gonna this could be a really substantive and great conversation, and we're gonna ask people to sit through half an hour of us talking about piss before they hear us get to. But that's just exactly what you can come to expect from
a show called Horribly Off Topic. Well, we never even established that it was a topic. I just started rambling, and then half an hour in, I'm like, well, I guess we should
probably get to
the pertinent information.
Yeah.
So yeah, I printed out a thing. It was off of a website called helpguide.org if you want to check into it a little bit more. But there was a couple of points that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, there's some common misconceptions about suicide, and a lot of people don't really realize it. And you kind of brought up, you kind of alluded to part of one of them, and okay, so. It's false that people who talk about suicide won't really do it because some people say it's a cry for help. Almost everyone who commits or attempts suicide has given some sort of clue or warning. So don't ignore suicide threats. Statements like you'll be sorry when I'm dead, or I can't see any way out, no matter how casually or jokingly they may indicate serious suicidal feelings. And then anybody who tries to kill themselves or herself must be crazy. And that's not true. Most suicidal people are not psychotic or insane. They must be upset, grief-stricken, depressed. It doesn't make them crazy. Definitely in extreme distress or emotional pain, but they're which are signs of mental illness. But
right.
Mental illness and someone being crazy,
right,
you could be both,
right?
But you can't necessarily, you can be one or the other. You could be a guy that's running around like a lunatic. And another thing that I thought, that crazy fucking moon that happened this weekend, and all I heard about was Robin Williams committed suicide, and then somebody texted me earlier in the week and said a family member committed suicide this weekend, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
The moon.
It was the fucking crazy moon.
Fucking crazy moon. I mean,
that's why they call people lunatics, because of the goddamn moon.
Because of the moon.
Yes. So if a person is determined to kill him or herself, there's nothing that can stop them. That is totally not true. Even the most severely depressed person has mixed feelings about death, wavering until usually the last moment of their lives. Most suicidal people don't necessarily want death. They want their pain to stop. And this isn't necessarily physical pain, but it's pain that you can feel emotional pain, and you just don't want to feel that feeling anymore, which is basically why people commit suicide, because their amount of pain that they're feeling is way greater than their ability to, or their support system, or their ability to deal with that pain.
Yeah. And I think the ability to deal with that pain is probably, well, I don't know, I would say is maybe the greater part of it, because it would seem to me that Williams had a good support system. It sounds as though maybe, I don't know the guy, but it sounds as though he had a good marriage. He has kids, and it sounds as though he probably had the support system, and it's just he was hurting so much.
And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get it out, to talk about it with anybody before he made that decision.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the unfortunate part. I mean, well, it's more than just that being unfortunate. But and then I'll keep on going here. People, or this is another false statement. I just want to preface that. People who commit suicide are people who are unwilling to seek help.
Yeah.
Studies of suicide victims have shown that more than half of them sought, not even just help from friends, but medical help in the 6 months prior to their deaths.
Yeah.
And it's another thing, false. If you talk about suicide, you're basically that you would give someone the idea to commit suicide. I mean, if there's people out there that are severely depressed, there's a good chance that suicide has crossed their minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you talking about it isn't going to just automatically suddenly just make a boom, suicide, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. No.
So yeah, in fact, talking about it with them could have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Like rationally, not lecturing.
Yeah. And that's that's certainly the key to it is how do you approach the subject with them? And it's one of those things. I don't know if somebody came up to me and was suicidal. I don't know how I.
Well, they have some tips on this that I got my notes.
That would be great.
All right, so when you're talking to a suicidal person, what the do's and don'ts. I'm going to do the do's. Be yourself. Let the person know you care and that they're not alone. And the right words are often unimportant. You don't necessarily have to say prophetic things to them. Just if you were concerned in your voice and manner, are all that really matter.
Yeah, I would
not all,
that.
But
Yeah, and I know of friends and acquaintances who have attempted suicide that I've had chats with, and I don't know if it was ever. I know sometimes it's been during times of crisis. I don't know if it was ever when they were that close to making an attempt. Not that I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think when I've had any success at brightening anybody's, that's common sense. So that makes me feel better. That you just sort of be yourself and not worry about how it is you're talking about, just that you're there.
And another thing it says is to listen, let the suicidal person unload their despair, ventilate any sort of anger that they have. No matter how negative the conversation seems, the fact that it exists is a positive sign and could possibly lead to some sort of healing. Be sympathetic, non-judgmental, patient, calm, and accepting. Your friend or family member is doing the right thing, talking to you about their feelings. Offer hope, reassure the person that help is available and that suicidal feelings are temporary, and let the person know that his or her life is important to you as a person. And then if the person is saying things, I'm so depressed, I can't go on, asking the question, are you having thoughts of suicide? Like I said earlier, you're not putting the thoughts in their head. You're showing them that you're concerned and that you're taking them seriously, and it's okay for them to share their pain with you.
Yeah. I think that last one is really important, because the idea, I don't know that I've ever been afraid of asking somebody the question because I was afraid I would put suicide into their head. It's such a crazy, it seems like a crazy question to ask, but it's not. If you really think somebody is thinking about it, then acknowledging it as a serious possibility, as painful as that might be for you and for them. Yeah.
So should I do the don'ts now?
Yeah,
I feel like we're on a good tear here.
We are on a good tear. What are some of the don'ts?
Don't argue with a suicidal person. Avoid saying things like you have so much to live for, your suicide will hurt your family, or look on the bright side. Because those kind of statements just kind of make, if you're kind of guilting somebody, it's going to make them feel worse.
Right. I feel like that first don't could apply to any conversation with someone about their depression.
Yeah,
whether it's
suicidal or not,
or not, just telling someone all the things that they have to live for is not very helpful. I know I can say that people have tried to get me out of my depression by telling me, as I said before, about all the things I have to live for. And it's like, yeah, it's great. I know I'm aware that I have 2 beautiful, cute, precocious children, and that I have a loving wife. And I'm aware of these things. It doesn't help me in the moment that I'm feeling sad.
Sometimes, well, when friends of mine have been down in the past, instead of being, having, a normal conversation about it can help. And also just hanging out and having a good time and shooting the breeze like we're fucking doing right now.
Right, exactly.
Talking about pissing for a half an hour.
Exactly. Right.
And hopefully we're helping other people enjoy their time, for an hour, their work day. Oh my God, this sucks. But at least they're talking about pissing. Maybe I should take a piss. I'm doing fake typing while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can't see on the podcast. Oh yeah. Another don't is to act shocked, lecture on the value of life, or say that suicide is wrong. Obviously, it's not great. It's not a terrific thing.
It's not what you want them to do.
It's not that you don't want them to do it, but just saying like this is bad, don't do it. It's not necessarily a good way to go about it. And it also says don't promise confidentiality or definitely refuse to be sworn to secrecy. It basically, a life is at stake, and if you need to speak to a mental health professional in order to keep a suicidal person safe, this is something you don't want to say that you're not going to tell anybody and then abuse their trust,
right?
And then tell somebody.
So
just say, when they say, "Can I tell you something?" and you promise not to tell anybody, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to tell somebody. It
depends on what you tell me.
Yeah, it depends on what you tell me. I mean, I don't know what the hell you're saying to me. Could be like, you want to squeeze my bum cheeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody.
I won't tell anybody about that. I'm thinking about fucking the neighbor's goat. I might need.
You live in a condo complex. Who has a goat?
We have the neighbors are relatively new, and I've heard some strange noise. No, I don't know.
So if you promise to keep your discussion secret, you may have to break your word, and that will probably hurt your friend and your friendship.
Right. Yeah, and give them your family and make them feel like they have one less person that they can actually go to. Mm-hmm. And you may be the person they feel like they can go to.
Yeah. Offer ways to fix their problems or give advice. Mm-hmm. Or make them feel like they have to justify their suicidal feelings. It's not about how bad the problem is, but how badly it's hurting your friend or the loved one.
Yeah.
And also, don't blame yourself if you can't fix someone's depression. I mean, sometimes, like Robin Williams, he had a great family.
Yeah.
Seemingly loving.
Yeah.
His kids seemed to be pretty top notch. His wife was supportive. So they in this situation can't blame themselves because
they did everything that they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, your loved one's happiness or lack thereof is not necessarily your responsibility. So, yeah. Those are some notes I took to try to help the conversation out. Well, I didn't take notes. I mean, I just printed out the thing and I'm reading from it.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
I'll try to link that in our show notes, which will be at clarkwoods.com/hot/3. This will be the 3rd episode.
And it'll also be on iTunes for those of you guys that subscribed.
Yes.
Although we don't need to tell you that because you're already getting it the moment we post it.
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring up a topic.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about suicide. I mean, I'm just maybe even devil's advocate here. Is there a time where suicide can be justified?
That's a good question. I mean, I remember... This isn't really suicide, but when we were maybe in high school, maybe middle school, there was the whole thing about Dr. Kevorkian. You remember Dr. Kevorkian?
The suicide doctor?
The suicide doctor, right? Who helped people who were either theoretically, he was helping people who were in great pain to go to end their lives, right? That was the idea. I don't know. I don't remember if that was what he was actually doing or if he's found guilty of doing worse things.
Well, I saw a documentary on him, and he was a ghoulish man, but I don't think there was malice in his heart, and I don't think he was taking any joy in killing people,
Yeah,
or assisted suicide.
Yeah, the only reason I bring that up is because I do feel like you are ultimately in charge of your own body, and if you believe in a soul, your own soul. If you are in so much pain that you just feel like you can't go, you feel like you've taken every avenue. Who am I to say that it's justified or unjustified? Does that answer your question? I don't know if that actually answers your question.
No. Well, it's just that,
like, I don't. But
religiously, a lot of religions say it's a sin to do so. But there are circumstances where, like, I thinking of an example of someone who would want to commit suicide. This is a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Would want to commit suicide, and let's just say they have the provocation towards young children, and they're not acting on it, but they're afraid they're going to act on it.
Yeah.
And instead of perhaps acting on it, because they're so tormented and so they kill themselves.
Yeah.
And it's terrible that someone kills themselves, obviously.
Right.
But them doing that possibly saved children torment.
Yeah. It's I heard it. I don't know if it might have been on This American Life, or within the last year or two. I heard a really interesting story on. I'll have to see if I can find it. Put it in the notes. About that very thing, where it was people who were part of an online group that recognized the pedophilia in themselves. Pedophilia meaning the thinking of it, not the actual doing.
Yeah.
And had come together in a kind of support group to keep themselves, in terms of strategies and things, to keep themselves from doing it. So I would like to think that if that sort of thing were more readily available to someone in that situation, that you might be able to prevent the suicide. However, if that person was sitting there and they have actively, they live next door to children, which they maybe they shouldn't.
Well, the thing is, if they have never done anything wrong, they wouldn't have to.
Right, but if they're aware that they might do something wrong,
they shouldn't put themselves.
They shouldn't put themselves in that situation.
But then again,
we're talking hypotheticals here. So we're in a down economy where, like, I can't sell my house because my house I owe more in my house than what it's actually worth. So say you've got a guy.
So you're drowning in your house. Yay!
you've got a guy who can't get out of the housing situation he's in, and he lives next door to children, and he every day feels like, we're going with this hypothetical situation, every day feels like he is, this close. You can't see, but this close.
Well, at least you got new neighbors, so in their goat. This is not the neighbor next door.
Not the neighbor next door. But they're so close to committing an act that they know would ruin a child's life. In that case, is it justified? Again, I go back to each individual person is in charge of their own body and soul, to the extent that it doesn't harm someone else. So if they feel like they've got to end their life in order to not cause harm to someone else, then maybe it is justified.
Well, it happened in you had said earlier that not on the podcast. We were talking briefly before we started.
Yeah.
The documentary Capturing the Freedmans was it started off as the documentary filmmaker making something about the best clown in New York City, and let me pull it up here so I'm not saying wrong things. But yeah, and then he was the most popular clown performer in New York City, and then he started going in, the documentary filmmaker, pronouns are bad. The documentary filmmaker started looking into his family, and then realized that there was another story there,
right?
And that was that his father was arrested because of possession of child pornography, and then there was allegations of him. Well, he ran a computer school when he was when the clown guy was a kid or whatever,
Right, yeah.
and then there was suspecting him of abusing the students, and then so there's a whole hullabaloo. It's a really great documentary. I expect. I don't expect you to watch it.
It is required.
It's a great. It's a great film to watch. It's going
Watch
to,
it before
it's
next
going,
week's
it's
class.
going to depress. It's going to depress the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Because and it's going to make you. Well, it made me mad at parts, and just like I don't know, but yeah, the patriarch of the family ended up committing suicide in prison, or no, I think he might have been released, but I don't know. So I forget all the details. Watch the documentary and then find out if I'm right or wrong and what I'm fucking saying. But yeah, he ended up committing suicide because perhaps he couldn't deal with the fact that what he had done, and that's one of those situations where, like, when people hear about it, and like the exact opposite of Robin Williams.
Yeah.
When people hear about when someone that's done shitty things commits suicide, usually their response is good.
Yeah.
Because they're like, that person was a shitty person, so it's good that he's not around anymore.
Hitler kills himself in his bunker. Nobody's upset about it.
Yeah, no one's upset that Hitler was like, I'm going to put a bullet in my brain, and not, and well, people say that his brain's somewhere in a jar somewhere.
What's left?
I had a terrible movie idea.
Oh gosh.
When I think it was when I was in college, or maybe it was before that.
Yeah.
Just like someone gets Hitler's brain and puts it in the body of a beautiful woman. And the movie's called Hot for Hitler. So hopefully he put a bullet in that brain.
Hopefully. And thus preventing that movie from
ever being made, or if, like have it actually be something that happens in real life. I watched another documentary recently. Do you want to put a just
yes.
Do you have one more comment on the?
No. No comments on that. I want to hear that, and I have if we get to it, one closing question, but maybe we'll end on a happier note.
Is it a happier note?
It is a happier note.
Is this question a happy question? Okay, good.
Okay.
So I watched another documentary. It was on Netflix. It was about Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh yeah, Bill Watterson, right?
I think it's Watterson.
Watterson, okay.
So yeah, he it was just because he's apparently very reclusive, and he doesn't do any sort of speaking engagements, and he hasn't literally done anything.
Yeah.
He's probably done something in his own life, and whatever
whatever
it is, it makes him happy.
Publicly.
He hasn't done anything publicly, and he hasn't published anything since Calvin and Hobbes was finished. I think it was back in 1995. Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap! It's been almost 10 years. Oh wait, no shit, 20 years.
Yeah.
My math. My head. It's been like 19 years since that comic strip but people are still talking about it, and people are still showing it to their kids or whatever,
right?
Because it's a good, fun little story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember like being, I was a little bit older when I started reading it, but yeah, I could totally.
What was the name of the documentary?
I forget.
Was it about comic strips, or what is?
Wait, I have my Netflix app. I could actually look into it. You want to ask the question while I'm looking?
Well, or related to this, and I'll come.
That's
come
Bank
around
of
to the
America.
question.
Hold on.
He did come back very, very recently without announcing that it was him.
Oh.
There was a, I forget what the name of the strip is. Now I got to look it up. But there was a comic strip where this guy had been doing it for a web comic and I'm going to get all the details wrong. So all I'll say is there was a web comic, a guy normally did it, but then for 2 weeks or something like that, there was somebody else doing the strip. And everyone thought it looked like Bill Watterson, but he wasn't credited or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, he didn't say. I don't think he spoke to the source. It was like through a source they discovered that it was Bill Watterson drawing those two editions of the strip, and that was his first public work in quite a long time.
Did I put it in?
But I think there's a comic strip documentary that's out and about. Maybe it was being funded on Kickstarter or something that I remember reading about, but I don't know if that's the same thing.
I can't find it.
No luck.
Well, it doesn't give me my recently watched on
the app. Okay. So the question I was going to ask, and maybe you'll find this while I'm asking it, was just, we talked about losing Robin Williams, talked about all the suicide parts of it and all the seriousness of it, but the other part that's been interesting to me is to hear what everyone's favorite moment, Robin Williams moments or movies were in these last few days.
Tell me yours while I think about mine.
The first thing that I went to, I was gonna iTunes on Monday and Tuesday put together a collection of Robin Williams movies, and the first thing I thought of, which made me really weirded out, but the first thing I thought of was Good Will Hunting, which is a supporting role for him. He did win the Oscar for it, but he's not Robin Williams at all. He's not manic. He's all of the sort of Robin Williams isms are gone in Good Will Hunting. But that was the first thing I thought about watching. It was there earlier in the day on Tuesday, and then gone by the time out of the iTunes store through some glitch. By the time I went to go buy it on Tuesday night, it was back by Wednesday morning.
I think it was on. It's on Netflix. Do you have Netflix?
It wasn't on Netflix. I looked.
What? It used to be on Netflix.
I know. So I couldn't find Good Will Hunting. So I was like, I should go.
It's a Blockbuster. Oh, wait.
I should go check out something else, and I had never seen Dead Poets Society, which is another dramatic one, and I ended up watching that, and it had some great stuff, especially in the first half with him, and then I feel like he was underused in the second half, so I watched that. But it ultimately comes back to, for me, Aladdin. Aladdin feels to me like, and I know that sounds so stupid,
but it was I'm a little bit younger than you, but
Aladdin is this perfect package of like crazy Robin Williams and his energy in animation that is, I mean, Aladdin is, to a certain extent, it's been years since I watched it, doing what Pixar does so well today, which is providing humor that works for you on one level if you're a kid, works for you on like a slightly different level if you're like a teenager or a college student, and then works for you on another level if you're an adult.
Yeah.
Aladdin just works, and it works so well. And I feel like if I had to say, and maybe it's because I have kids, that the first thing I've thought about wanting to watch this week, and I don't have a copy of it.
I have it on VHS at my dad's house.
My parents have it on VHS. I don't have a VCR. The first thing I thought about watching was Aladdin. And
like if Disney was like, well, they're money making machines, but like if they
they would bring it back out of the vault right now.
Yeah, now would be a great idea.
Yeah,
and you could possibly have people get it on Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's actually available on Amazon on Blu-ray. Yeah. But I'm gonna have to agree with you that Aladdin, because I'm a teeny bit younger than you,
right.
So I think it hit me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because
what it year came was out, that was 92, maybe 93.
Yeah, so you were just starting high school, and I think I was still in middle school. So
Yeah.
I think I was the perfect age for.
Yeah, for and it's one of Disney's most well balanced movies too, in terms of it has a strong male lead, a strong female lead, and the awesome sidekick in the form of Genie. It's a movie that I'm surprised I haven't ever gotten on DVD or anything. It's just maybe the last time it came out on DVD, it was before I had the kids. I don't know. It was just really strange that I didn't have it. And I wondered whether that was because of the Iraq War and stuff like that at the same time that it would have been and they didn't promote it as much because of its Middle Eastern themes. I don't know. I've always wondered why it isn't one of those ones that has come out like 6 times. Like The Little Mermaid is only a couple years.
Well, they don't have the penis castle one anymore.
They don't anymore. No, but The Little Mermaid is only like 2 years or 2 or 3 years older than Aladdin, and I feel like it's been out on DVD.
I think it's actually
like
4
3 times.
Because I remember being in elementary school when Little Mermaid
was
out.
'89,
and then
Beauty and the Beast was like 90 or 91, and
then Aladdin, and then Lion King. And that was the chunk of Disney movies that was like the ones that were my wheelhouse. And then after that, I was just like kind of done.
No,
like
those
Mulan and Pocahontas came out, and I was like,
no, it's those Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and the Lion King are just sort of like this. And you know what? I because I'm a dad, I looked up. And like the Rescuers Down Under is in there, like in right between. In between Little Mermaid and and Beauty and the Beast, and I'm like, I don't know that one all that well.
I remember that summer. I think I actually saw it because we were up at Winnipesaukee, and we saw it at the drive-in with something else. Might have been Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
There's a group of guys I haven't thought about in a while. Do you think it's written into Keanu Reeves' like movie contracts that he has to say "whoa" at least once per film?
That seems like one of the hackiest things I've ever heard you say.
And on that note,
good night, everybody.